Well, so Kojo and I were doing the latest news update for you, but let's start from the presidency. And President Akufo-Addo has reshuffled his government for the first time, making 15 changes but sacking none. There were 4 promotions. Deputy Information Minister Kojo Nkrumah is expected to be in charge of the Information Ministry. And as you know, the Akufo-Addo administration came under huge backlash for its bloated size of government, 110 to be concise. So what accounts for the increase in the size of government in this reshuffle in spite of public criticism? Deputy Chief of Staff Samuel Abojinapo explaining.
The right way to go in the interest of our country. He has a responsibility, he has a duty, and his overriding responsibility is to protect the public good and the public interest. And I've just been enumerating to you and articulating the basis for which President Akufo-Addo's government will seem to be bigger than other governments. It's primarily because of 2 things. One is that the president's inheritance is a unique one. He inherited a poor legacy. He inherited an economy which was almost bankrupt. He inherited huge debt overhangs. He inherited huge legacy debt. He inherited literally every aspect of our national life was running into crisis, whether it came to the protection of our environment, where Galamsey had taken over our administration, our environment and our country, or whether it had to do with our educational system, or whether it had to do with our economy, which was suffocating and growing at 3%, which is unprecedented, the lowest in the history of the 4th Republican dispensation, whether it had to do with integrity or accountability in government, where the previous administration was involved in endemic corruption, which any aspect of our national life was in crisis. That's number 1, the legacy that he inherited. And 2 is the vision that he has for this country, and the vision is prosecuting and the goals he set for himself. I'll say in all humility and modesty that President Akufo-Addo is prosecuting the boldest of visions that we probably have seen in the history of our country.
There's also a new portfolio, Minister of State at the Vice President's office. It's the first of its kind in any administration in the country's history. And that position is being taken up by former Minister for Inner Cities and Zongo Development, Boniface Sadiq. But some have questioned its relevance. Mr. Jinapo explains again.
That's a very good question, Evans. And if you are familiar with the way this government has worked since we came into office, I dare say that one of the busiest sectors or organs or departments, for want of a better expression, of this government has been the Vice President's Secretariat. This is the Vice President who literally oversees the whole government. If you care to know, the economic management team of which he chairs is been turned into a full secretariat of the government. And literally nothing moves or goes on without some clearance with the economic management team. He's a person who himself is supervising extraordinary policies with far-reaching consequences for our country, and formulating policies with far-reaching consequences for our country, and playing a normal supervisory role of many aspects of the government. So it may be the case that in the past, other vice presidents had little to do. But this vice president's hands are full, completely full. And I'm not too sure that even the staff he has with Minister Boniface Abobakar's inclusion will be sufficient to deal with the issues on his desk. So he's going to assist the vice president and going to play a ministerial role in the vice president's office to assist him in executing and achieving all the noble but taxing roles which the vice president has to deal with on a day-to-day basis.
And Samuel Abojinapo was speaking to Evans Mensah. Well, President Akufo-Addo has also described as fruitless attempts to persuade a special prosecutor to drop his investigations into acts of corruption. We know this comes after Martin Amido had stated that there had been attempts to use some influential people in society to get him to back off some cases. Well, the president, who was addressing a graduation ceremony of the prison service, said Martin Amidu, he knows, will not succumb to persuasion and influence in the discharge of his mandate, adding that his government will ultimately be impartial in the prosecution of corrupt public officers.
Crime is becoming more sophisticated and multidimensional, and we cannot win the war against it if we engage in needless tussles for supremacy. Each one of you has a unique mandate towards the maintenance of peace and security of our country. I can assure you also that under my watch as President of the Republic, the laws of this land will be applied to the letter and without recourse to the ethnic, religious, or political affiliations of the persons or persons involved. And to those who are sending chiefs and men of God to the special prosecutor to intervene on their behalf, to try to dissuade Mr. Martin Amidu from conducting his investigations. From the little I know of the man, they are engaged in a fruitless venture.
Moving away from the president now, water is now a scarce commodity at Chamba in the northern region following the drying up of the dam in the area. Now, the problem has become further compounded by the breaking down of majority of boreholes in the area, which are more than 2 decades old. Joseph Opoku-Gapo reports.
Chamba, a village near Bimbela, has a population of about 10,000 people. This dam is the water that residents here rely on for their daily chores. It's supposed to be filled to the brim, to the level of the shafts, and it's dry most of the times, and mud is all what is left. The drying up of the dam has left the residents with no water.
Okay,
so what she's saying is that they don't have any source of water. They know that there are some few boreholes, but some of them you go and you have to pay money, which she doesn't have money to go and pay. So she's compelled to come and fetch this one and go and manage it. She would have wished for a borehole so they don't take this dirty water. She herself knows that the water is dirty, but that is the only source of water they have. So she's compelled to fetch that one. What she says is that it's actually far from her place, but this is the only source of water, and the water is not even good. But she has no other place to go and fetch water from. So that's why she's compelled to come here. And as we have come to see her fetching this water, is it not pitiful?
The residents here now have to rely on this almost muddy source of water to cook and bathe, although animals also drink from it.
Anytime we take it, we'll fall sick. And if you face this water even to drink and your eyes see, how do you yourself feel it? So we are suffering. We are suffering.
When you say you've been falling sick, what kind of sickness has it been causing you?
Yeah, stomach pains, and these many of us are running diarrhea and other things. We are appealing to government. We are on our knees. We are appealing. We feel pity for us and give us water. We are on our knees. We are suffering a lot.
The community has about 14 boreholes serving the about 10,000 people. But about 8 of them are broken down, and the rest are usually under pressure. The boreholes are more than 20 years old, and they break down frequently, even after repair. Assembly member for Chamba West electoral area, Biwati David Nyajedo, says the community needs more boreholes and the dredging of the dam itself.
Government and those in power should just pity us. We need water, nothing else. Water, if we get water, clean water to drink, we will not fall sick. If we will get more boreholes to add to the few that are there, we will like it. But if we can also get pipe-borne water, where they will lay pipes to individual homes, so we can all be fetching from those points, we will also be happy about that. And our dam, where we drink with the animals, something also needs to be done about it.
What should be done?
It should be distilled. Looking at it very well, you realize that the dam becomes shallow.
The residents are eagerly awaiting some form of government support to deal with the water challenges. For JoyNews, Joseph Opoku-Gakpo, Chamba.
And before we end the bulletin, the National Association of Graduate Teachers says it is unhappy at the manner in which the National Pensions Regulatory Authority and the Ministry of Finance are managing their pensions. According to the president of NAGRAT, though a request was made to the chief executive of the NPRA to transfer the temporal pension fund account to the Ghana Education Service after a stakeholders meeting in June 2018, it has not been done. It says the group will soon embark on a series of industrial actions that will eventually lead to a sit-down strike if their concerns are not addressed.
At a media briefing, the president of NAGRAT, Angel Kabunu, said the money was released to all other public sector workers in November 2017, except the Ghana Education Service. He says teachers' pension funds amounting to 1.7 billion cedis, which should be with the scheme, is still with the National Pensions Regulatory Authority, NPRA. He alleges there are machinations by politicians to sacrifice the general interest of teachers for their personal gains.
The Ghana Education Service money is being held by the National Pension Regulations Authority. The monies were released to our sister schemes in November 2017. And as we speak today, August 2018, the Ghana Education Service scheme have not been released to us. You may be wondering how much we are talking about. We are talking about 1.73 billion Ghana cedis, which was supposed to have been released in November 2017.
According to Mr. Kabunu, in 2020, many teachers will be retiring under the new scheme, but there is nothing available in the pensions fund for them. They are therefore demanding an immediate transfer of their funds from the temporal pension fund account being held by the NPRA to the Ghana Education Service scheme, else they will embark on a series of industrial actions.
The National Association of Graduate Teachers demands an immediate transfer of our funds from the TPFA held by the NPRA illegally to the Ghana Education Service scheme immediately. That the Ministry of Finance removes all impediments in the way of the NPRA and the Board of Trustees in this endeavor. That the position of the law and the out-of-court settlement should form the basis of decisions in the management of the schemes. We hold the following: that the Board of Trustees of the Ghana Education Service pension scheme be sufficiently allowed to manage and invest monies for teachers. The contributions for the occupational-based pension scheme, the government is again being asked to hands off its influence on our funds. If the monies are not transferred immediately, and I repeat, if the monies are not transferred immediately, NAGRAT as an association do not have a choice of engaging itself or embarking on series of industrial actions.
Efua Evans Chinnery's report for JoyNews.
And that's it for the news, but we have more news. Kojo Yankson and Mamavi, good morning to you as well.
Well,
yes, we'll be doing reviews, right?
She's here in all her glory.
The way he said, we have more news, like we're at the news, yes.
What's going on here?
Thanks to Ajua Yeboah Clothing, my Thursdays and my Fridays will not be the same.
Okay.
And the fabric is from Woodin.
Yeah. And thanks to Ellis Couture, who is based in Tema. Very soon I'll get you updated with the latest details and all that. We'll be having Woodin created, designs, etc. very soon. Just
thanks to...
oh, I knew something was coming up.
Thanks to you all for joining us this morning. We're very excited to be bringing you today's edition of the AM show.
Yeah.
So much coming up, isn't there?
Yeah, yes. Absolutely. Yes. We'll look at the newspapers. We've got sports as well.
Yeah, many things that we have to consolidate and reshuffle.
Yeah. And then we have the second episode of a home series this morning. It's all because of the Habitat Fair 2018, and we're counting down to the West Hills Mall Clinic, which will happen 18th and 19th of August. So watch out for our conversation today is on mortgage financing.
Nasikano wahi, right? Today we're going to find out how you can finance your home, whether you're building or buying. Okay,
absolutely.
That's
all right. In the meantime, just check out Ajua Yeboah Clothing on Facebook, Instagram, and let me know. And
of course, while you're checking out people on Instagram, go and check out Robert and Sons.
Hey,
yes, they're behind my eyewear. Good morning to all of those hardworking people there. But look, they can really swag up your face. If your eyes are letting you down, Robert and Sons will not. So go check them out and pick up.
Well, I also wear contacts. It's by
who?
Stay with us. We're back with the newspapers and your messages. This is the AM Show.